It was late, and everyone had run home to escape the cold, but Richie was still outside, driving his big car after a long day. As he approached the junction, his headlights flashed on something ahead. He squinted. A girl. She was sitting under a tree, hugging herself, shaking from the cold. Her clothes were soaked, her hair dripping, no shoes, no bag, just sitting there like someone who had lost everything. Richie slowed down and looked around. No one else was in sight, just him and the girl. He rolled down his window. "What are you doing there?" The girl didn't move. She just sat there, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Richie's voice became sharper. "I said, what are you doing here?" Slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes met his, deep, tired, empty. Then she looked away. "I have nowhere to go, sir," she said, her voice low. "I just arrived from a village." Richie muttered to himself, no umbrella, no phone, no sign of anyone coming for her. His lips curved into a small smile. "Nowhere to go?" he asked. The rain poured harder, and the wind was strong. The girl shivered, pressing her knees to her chest. Richie tapped the steering wheel. "Get in," he said, "before you catch a cold." She didn't move. Richie laughed lightly. "Do you think I'll eat you? Come on in. I can help." The girl hesitated, then slowly stood up and walked toward the car, her feet splashing in the water. Richie pushed open the door. She slipped inside, her wet clothes sticking to her skin. As he drove, he glanced at her. She looked young, beautiful, and helpless. "What's your name?" he asked. She stared ahead. "Linda." Richie smiled. "Nice name." The road stretched before them, empty and dark. Richie tapped his fingers on the wheel. Tonight would be interesting. He glanced at her from time to time. Young, beautiful, completely at his mercy. He smiled to himself. After some time, they arrived at his mansion. The gate opened, and he drove in. The compound was big, the house even bigger. Linda stepped out of the car, looking around. Everything looked expensive. "Come inside," Richie said, leading the way. Inside, the house was quiet and warm. Linda followed him, her bare feet making light sounds on the floor. "Sit," Richie said, pointing to a chair. She sat down. A few minutes later, a maid walked in. "Bring her food," Richie ordered, "and get her something to change." The maid nodded and left. Soon, a hot meal was placed before Linda. Steaming rice, soft meat, rich soup. The smell made her stomach tighten. "Eat," Richie said. "Don't be shy." She hesitated, then picked up a spoon. The food was warm. For the first time that night, she felt a little safe. When she finished, the chief handed her some clothes. "Come, I'll show you your room," he said. Linda followed him down a long hallway. Richie opened the door. "This is your room," he said. Linda stepped inside. A bed, a soft blanket, a wardrobe. It was more than she had expected. She turned back. Richie was standing at the door, watching her. "You can stay as long as you want," he said. "You're safe here." Linda's lips parted slightly. "Thank you, so." Richie smiled. "No need to thank me." Then he turned and walked away, closing the door behind him. The night stretched on. The house was quiet. Linda lay on the bed, her body finally warm, her eyes heavy with sleep. Then the door creaked open. Richie stepped inside, his steps slow and careful. His eyes studied the girl on the bed. He moved closer, closer. His hand reached out. Linda stood. "Sir," her voice was weak, still sleepy. Richie smiled, his voice smooth. "Don't worry, my dear." Linda blinked. Her heart started beating faster. "What are you doing here?" she asked. Richie chuckled. "You don't think I helped you for nothing, do you?" The room suddenly felt smaller. The air felt heavy. Linda swallowed. Her fingers curled around the bedsheet. Richie's smile deepened. "No favor is free." Linda's breath caught in her throat. Fear rushed through her body like cold water. She sat up quickly, moving back. Her fingers tightened around the bedsheet. "It's late," Richie sighed. "Linda, you're a smart girl. You know why you're here. You know why I offered you good food and this nice place to sleep." Silence. The air felt thick. Linda's mind raced. She was alone in a strange house, with no one to help her, no one who would hear her. She needed to think fast. She swallowed hard. "Sir, please," she whispered. "I understand. Just wait until tomorrow." Rich's eyes narrowed. "Tomorrow?" Linda nodded quickly. "Yes, tomorrow." She forced a small smile. "I just need time to prepare myself." Richie watched her for a long moment. Then he chuckled. "Ah, you village girls." He stood up, stretching. "All right, tomorrow then." He walked to the door, paused, and looked at her again. "Sleep well, Linda." The door closed behind him. Linda let out a shaky breath. Her hands were trembling. She had bought herself time, but only for one night. The next morning, Linda stepped out of her room as if nothing had happened. She ate her food, took a bath, and moved around the house quietly. Richie watched her, smiling to himself. She was calm, not afraid, not running. That meant she had accepted. He was pleased. But Linda was waiting for the sun to go down, waiting for the night to come, because she knew Richie would not wait any longer. Night came. The house was quiet, the lights dim. Richie sat in his room, smiling to himself. He had been patient. He had waited. Now, it was time. He stood up, stretched his arms, and walked towards Linda's room. His footsteps were slow, steady. He didn't need to rush. She wasn't going anywhere. He reached the door and pushed it open without knocking. Linda was sitting on the bed, her hands resting on her lap, her eyes staring at the floor. She didn't look surprised. Richie leaned on the doorframe. "Linda," he called, his voice smooth. "You promise." She didn't answer. He took a step closer. "Don't pretend," he said, smiling. "I've been good to you. I fed you, clothed you, gave you shelter. Now, it's time for you to repay me." Linda finally lifted her head. Her face was blank, but her eyes, something about them had changed. "Sir," she said, her voice quiet but firm, "don't do this." Richie laughed. "Don't do what? Take what is mine? No more waiting," he said, his voice thick with hunger. "I want you now." Linda's fingers curled into fists. "Sir, you don't know me. Please, let me go. I am warning you." Richie smirked. "Warning me?" He shook his head, amused. "What will you do? Call the police? Scream for help? No one will hear you." Linda's lips pressed into a thin line. "I am not like other girls." Richie laughed, shaking his head. "I don't care who you are. After this, I'll give you money, and you can leave." Linda's voice changed. It was no longer soft, no longer afraid. It was cold. "You shouldn't bite more than you can chew, sir." Richie chuckled. "Oh, I know. That's why I picked you." He reached for her wrist. "Enough talking. Come here." The moment he touched her, everything changed. Linda's body stiffened. Her mouth opened wide, too wide. Then she let out a scream. Not a normal scream, not the scream of a helpless girl. It was deep, loud, piercing. Richie felt it shake through his bones. His ears rang, his chest tightened. He stumbled back. Then, before his eyes, Linda began to change. Her skin rippled, her legs twisted, and then her legs were gone. In their place was a long, thick, scaly tail, dark, shiny, moving. Richie gasped. His heart pounded. His knees weakened. Linda lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were no longer the same. They were yellow with sharp black slits in the middle. She smiled, but this time her teeth were different. Fangs, long, sharp, deadly. Richie opened his mouth, but no words came out. His lips trembled. His body shook. "No, no. What are you?" he whispered. Linda slithered forward, her voice now cold, inhuman. "I warned you, Richie," she hissed. And Richie knew he was in trouble. Richie's breath came fast. His heart pounded. His legs felt weak, but fear pushed him to move. He stumbled back, reaching for the door. Linda slithered forward, slow, steady, blocking his way. He grabbed the doorknob, his hand shaking. He pulled, but it wouldn't open. His palms were sweaty. His chest rose and fell rapidly. "Stay away," he shouted. Linda tilted her head, her yellow eyes glowing. She wasn't angry. She wasn't rushing. She was enjoying this. "You wanted me," she said. "Now, I'm here." Richie pressed himself against the door, shaking his head. "Please, please, whatever you are, don't hurt me." Linda let out a slow, sharp hiss. "Hurt you?" She smiled, her fangs glinting. "No, Richie, I didn't come here by mistake. I didn't sit in that rain because I was lost." Richie swallowed hard. "Then why?" Linda's smile widened. "I came for you." His stomach tightened. Her eyes darkened. "Yes, you." Rich's mind raced. His past was filled with many sins, many women he had used and abandoned, so many girls. But none had ever come back. None had ever been like this. His voice cracked. "I don't even know you." Linda's expression didn't change. "Are you sure?" Rich's head shook quickly. "Yes, I swear. I've never met you before." Linda leaned closer. Her cold breath brushed his face. "Then let me help you remember." She paused. Then she whispered, "Do you remember Sonia?" Rich's body froze. The air around him suddenly felt heavy. His lips parted, but no sound came out. Sonia. The name hit him like thunder, a name he had buried, a name he never wanted to hear again. His legs gave way, and he slid down to the floor, his back still against the door. His face turned pale. His whole body shook. Linda watched him. Her smile was gone now. Her voice was lower, colder. "You remember, don't you?" Richie couldn't breathe. He couldn't speak. "Sonia." He swallowed hard. Linda let out a slow, quiet hiss. "She was my sister." Richie's legs wobbled. The room felt smaller. The air felt heavier. The past, the one he thought was dead, was now staring at him, and it had come for revenge. Rich's legs wobbled like a tree in a storm. His hands shook. His throat was dry. "Please, I didn't mean to," he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. Linda slithered closer, her golden snake eyes glowing. "Didn't mean to," she repeated, her voice cold. "Didn't mean to kill my sister." Richie opened his mouth. "Please let me explain. I didn't kill her." But before he could speak, knock, knock, knock. A sharp knock at the door. His body jerked like someone had poured hot water on him. His breath hitched. His eyes darted to the door. Linda grinned, her fangs glinting. She tilted her head, watching him like a hunter watching a weak animal. "Go on," she whispered. "Open it." Then, before his eyes, her long, scaly body shimmered, twisted, and changed. Her snake tail shrank. The golden eyes darkened. The fangs disappeared. In seconds, she was human again. A young, harmless girl. A girl who looked like she had never heard a fly. The knock came again. Bang, bang. Richie swallowed hard and turned the knob with shaking fingers. The door swung open. His wife stood there, her arms folded. Her eyes scanned the room. "Who is she?" she asked, her voice sharp. Rich's mouth went dry. His mind raced. He had to say something. Anything. She's the new maid," he blurted out, forcing a smile. "Remember? You said you needed more helping hand. Well, here she is." His wife's eyes narrowed as she looked Linda up and down. The girl stood there quietly, her face calm. Then, after a long pause, his wife shrugged. "All right. Just make sure she does her work." She turned and walked away. Richie let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. But Linda just smiled. "Yes, madam," she said sweetly. But in her heart, she laughed. "This woman does not know me. If she did, she wouldn't dare give me work." The days passed. Linda worked in the house like a normal maid. She swept the floors, washed the plates, and cleaned the rooms. She greeted the wife with respect and obeyed every order. She was quiet, polite, and hard-working. The wife watched her, still suspicious, but there was nothing to complain about. "At least she's useful," she muttered. One evening, Richie, however, was not at peace. During the day, he pretended everything was normal. He forced smiles, ate his food, and acted like Linda was just a harmless girl he had picked up in the rain. But at night, everything changed. Richie lay in bed, his eyes wide open, his body stiff like a dead man. He had locked his door, but his heart still pounded. His hands clenched the sheet, soaked with sweat. Then a cold whisper slithered into the room. Richie froze. He turned his head slowly. His breath hitched. She was there, not as a girl, not as a human, but as a snake. Her long, scaly body curled in the corner of his room. Her golden eyes gleamed, glowing like fireflies in the dark. Her voice, soft and cold, filled the air. "Do you remember Sonia?" Richie squeezed his eyes shut. "No, please. Do you remember what you did to her?" He pulled the blanket over his head like a scared child, but he could still feel her presence, hear her breathing, hear the slow, soft sound of her tail moving across the floor. He wanted to run, but this was his house that was no longer his. Every night, she came. Every night, she whispered. Every night, she reminded him. He stopped eating. He stopped sleeping. He stopped laughing. The mighty Richie, the man who once ruled the city, was now a prisoner in his own home. And then, one night, everything changed. She came again, her voice as cold as the night air. "Richie," she whispered, moving closer. "It's time." Richie sat up, shaking his head. Time for what? Linda's lips curled into a smile. "You must choose." His stomach tightened. "Choose what?" She tilted her head, her yellow eyes flashing. "Divorce your wife. Marry me." Rich's heart skipped. Linda moved closer, her tail gliding across the floor. "I want this house. I want this life. Get rid of her." Richie shook his head, his hands trembling. "Ah, that's impossible." Her eyes darkened. "Then tonight, I take my revenge." "Revenge?" His voice cracked. "Yes, send her away. She is becoming a problem. Marry me secretly, without your parents knowing." Richie swallowed hard. I can't." Linda slithered closer. "If you refuse," she tilted her head, her forked tongue flicking out, "I will take my revenge tonight." Richie stared at her. His throat was dry. His hands trembled. He knew she wasn't joking. The next day, his wife woke up to find her husband waiting for her. "Pack your things," Richie said, his face cold. She blinked. "What?" "I said, pack your things and leave." His voice echoed through the house. Tears welled in her eyes. "What did I do? Tell me, what did I do wrong?" Richie looked away. He couldn't tell her the truth. He couldn't tell her there was a snake in the house, and it wasn't leaving. His wife cried, begged, and knelt before him, but Richie had already made his choice. She left, her heart broken, her eyes full of pain. And that night, Linda sat on the biggest chair in the house. She stretched her legs, drank from Richie's finest cup, and smiled, because now she ruled the house. And just like that, everything changed. Linda no longer behaved like a maid. She walked around like the queen of the house. She gave orders, sat in the best chair, and slept in the master bedroom. Richie was no longer the master of the house. At first, the people around didn't understand what was happening, but then they saw it. Richie washing plates in the kitchen. Richie sweeping the compound. Richie serving Linda food at the table while she sat with her feet up. It was unbelievable. People started whispering, "This is not normal. He must be under a spell." The great Richie is now a servant in his own house. His friends came to visit. They found him in the backyard, bent over, picking beans. "Richie, what is happening?" one of them asked. "Why are you like this?" Richie looked up, his face pale, his lips cracked. "You won't understand." His friends exchanged worried glances. They could feel something was wrong. And then Linda stepped outside. The moment they saw her, a strange fear gripped them. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Her presence alone was enough to chase them away. One by one, they left, shaking their heads. And inside that house, Richie remained trapped, a prisoner in his own home. The mystery of who Sonia was and what had happened to her remained. For 6 months, Richie lived like a slave. He cooked, He cleaned, he ran errands. But strangest of all, his wealth never stopped growing. His business still flourished. Money still poured in. People whispered, "This is not ordinary. Maybe he is using juju. Maybe his new wife is a source of his riches." But none of them knew. None of them understood. Richie had everything, yet he had nothing. Then, one day, everything changed. Richie's mother, Mama, sat outside her house in the village, fanning herself. It had been weeks since she heard from her son. Something was wrong. Richie never went this long without calling. He loved to boast about his riches, his big house, his cars. But now, silence. Her spirit was restless. She called his number again. No answer. She stood up. "I cannot sit here and fold my hands." She tied her wrapper tight, took her bag, and left for the city. Hours later, she arrived at the mansion. She knocked on the gate. No answer. She knocked again, harder this time. The security man peered out. "Mama, what do you want?" Mama Rich's eyes widened. "What do I want? Are you mad? Open this gate." The man hesitated, then sighed and pulled the gate open. But as soon as she entered the compound, she felt it. Something was wrong. The air was heavy. The house was too quiet. The maids were missing. The guards were nowhere to be seen. And then she saw him, her son, the great Richie, the same son who once sat on golden chairs, who once commanded men with a single word. Now he was sitting on the floor. His fine clothes were gone. His hands, once strong and clean, were dusty, and he was scrubbing the floor like a common houseboy. Her heart clenched. "Richie!" she shouted, dropping her bag. "What is this?" Richie flinched, his hands trembling. His mother rushed to him, her wrapper swaying as she bent down. "Why are you the one scrubbing the floor? Where are your maids? Where's your wife?" Before he could answer, boom, boom, loud footsteps echoed. A shadow moved, and then Linda stormed in. Her presence filled the room like a storm cloud. "Who is shouting in my house?" Her voice was sharp, her eyes dark. Mama Richie turned sharply. Her old wise eyes studied Linda from head to toe. There was something off about this girl. Something cold. Something not right. "Who is this?" Mama Richie snapped, turning to her son. Richie swallowed hard. He looked at Linda, then at his mother. Then, in a small, weak voice, he said, "She's my wife." Mama Richie's face twisted. "Your wife?" She stood up straight, her hands on her hips. "Since when? Without telling your family? Without any bride price? Without any wedding?" Her voice rose. "This is not a wife. This is an intruder. She must leave." The room went silent. Rich's hands tightened around the beans. Linda did not move. She did not blink. Then slowly, she smiled, a small, chilling smile. Mama Richie did not know. She did not know that she had just stepped into the lion's den. The air inside the mansion grew thick, heavy, like a storm about to break. Mama Richie stood her ground, her chest rising and falling with anger. She had raised a strong son, a powerful son. And now, here he was, sitting on the floor like a common servant. All because of this girl. She turned to Linda, her eyes sharp. "I said, leave my son's house." But Linda smirked. That same small, chilling smile. "Old woman," she said, tilting her head. "Leave now." Mama Richie's body stiffened. She had seen many things in her life, fought many battles, given birth through pain. And now, this small girl wanted to chase her. She threw a wrapper over her shoulder and stepped forward. "This is my son's house. I will not leave." Linda's smile faded. She turned to Richie. "Tell her to leave, or else." Rich's breath hitched. His body shook. He looked at his mother, then at Linda. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Mama Rich's eyes burned. "So now you let a small girl control you." She clapped her hands together, shaking her head. "Ah, the Richie I raised is gone." And then, a slap, her palm landed hard across Linda's cheek. A sharp, echoing sound filled the room. The air stilled. Linda's head tilted slightly from the impact. She did not move. She did not flinch. Then she hissed, a slow, eerie hiss that sent chills down Mama Rich's spine. And then her body began to change. The fine gown she wore rippled as something moved underneath. Her arms stretched, her neck twisted, then with a sickening crack, her legs melted away. The soft skin turned dark and shiny, and a long, thick, scaly tail replaced them. Mama Richie's breath caught in her throat. Her hands flew to her chest. "Oh, my God!" she screamed, her knees shaking. She stumbled backward. Richie shut his eyes, shaking his head as if it were all a bad dream. But when he opened them again, Linda was no longer human. She was a snake, half woman, half serpent. Her yellow eyes gleamed. Her long tail moved slowly across the floor, leaving a faint hissing sound in the air. She turned to Mama Richie. "Old woman," she whispered, her voice chilling, "you should not have touched me." Mama Richie's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Then the compound gate burst open. Neighbors, friends, the housemaids, the security man, they had all heard the old woman scream. They had come running. Then another person stepped forward, Richie's ex-wife. She had been suspicious, hearing rumors, waiting for proof. Now she had seen it with her own eyes. She gasped, "Jesus Christ, a snake?" "Richie," she whispered, her voice filled with horror, "you drove me out for this monster." The crowd started murmuring. Some took steps back. Others grabbed their chests in shock. Mama Richie gripped her wrapper, her voice shaking. "Richie, my son, what have you brought into this house?" Linda turned to Richie, her snake-like body towering over him. "It's time to confess," she hissed. Richie's legs felt weak. His lips trembled. What do you mean?" Linda slithered closer. "Tell them what you did," she commanded. The compound was silent. All eyes were on Richie, his mother, his ex-wife, his friends, his workers. Everyone was waiting. Linda slithered closer. Her yellow eyes locked on him. "Tell them," she whispered. "Or should I?" Richie's lips quivered. His whole body shook. He looked around, searching for an escape, but there was none. His voice came out weak. I don't know what you're talking about." Linda's eyes darkened. Her long tail scraped against the floor. "Liar." Richie flinched. His hands curled into fists. Please don't do this." Linda's voice dropped lower, colder. "Tell them what you did to my sister." A gasp ran through the crowd. Mama Richie's face twisted in confusion. "Sister? What sister?" Richie squeezed his eyes shut. His whole body felt like it was burning. Then the words spilled out. I never meant to kill her," he whispered. The crowd froze. Mama Richie's eyes widened. "Kill who?" Richie's breathing was fast and shallow. His voice cracked. "Sonia." Linda smiled. So you do remember." That past rushed back. It was many years ago, back when Richie was still hungry for pleasure, back when he thought he could take whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And there was one thing he loved more than anything: women. He took home different girls every night, promising them money and a good life. Today he would take a short one, tomorrow a tall one, the day after a fair one. He never settled with one woman. He never married, nor did he keep a girlfriend. Then one day, he met a girl, a young, beautiful girl. Her name was Sonia. She was poor, looking for a job, hoping to find a way to survive in the city. He found her walking home one afternoon, her feet dusty, her stomach empty. "Good afternoon, sir," she said softly. "What are you doing out here under the sun?" Richie asked, tilting his head. I am looking for work," she said. "I just came to this town. I need a job." Richie's smile widened. "You are lucky, my dear. I have a job for you. Come, I will take care of you." The girl hesitated. She looked at the dark road ahead, then at the man in the big car. "A job?" she asked. "Yes, a good one. You will not suffer again," Richie promised. Slowly, she stepped into the car. The drive to his mansion was silent. Richie glanced at her from time to time. She was too innocent, too trusting. He grinned to himself. When they arrived, he led her inside. The house was grand, full of shining lights and expensive things. The girl looked around in amazement. "Sit," Richie said, pointing to the soft couch. She sat down, then his smile changed. Now, take off your clothes, he ordered. The girl's eyes widened in shock. No, sir, she whispered, shaking her head. You said I was here for a job. Richie chuckled. Yes, this is a job. Come now, don't waste my time. Please, Chief, please have mercy. I can't, she said, her voice trembling. Rich's face darkened. He didn't like to be told no. His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. You don't have a choice, he said coldly. She struggled. She begged. But Richie was stronger. He forced himself on her. By the time he was done, she was still, too still. Richie sat up, breathing heavily. Get up, he said. But she didn't move. His heart pounded. Get up, he shouted, shaking her. But the girl lay there, lifeless. She was dead. Richie panicked. His hands shook as he touched her cold skin. No, no, oh no, this cannot happen. He paced the room, his mind racing. If people found out, it would be the end of him. So, he did what monsters do. He grabbed a bedsheet, wrapped her body in it, then carried her to his car, looking around to make sure no one saw him. At midnight, when the streets were empty, Richie drove to the market square. His heart pounded with every turn of the wheel. When he got there, he looked around once more. The night was silent. The town was asleep. Quickly, he opened the car boot and dragged out the lifeless body. He placed her on the ground and covered her face with the sheet. Then, without looking back, he jumped into his car and sped off. By morning, the town was awake. The market square was filled with people. Then someone screamed, "Dead body! There's a dead body here!" People gathered, murmuring, whispering. Some said she was a ritual victim. Some said she was a thief who had been punished. But no one knew he was the one who had taken her life. No one suspected him. So he moved on, lived his life, became richer, more powerful. And he thought that was the end. That no one saw. That no one knew. That he had gotten away with it. But he was wrong. So wrong. Because Linda saw. She was watching, waiting, planning. And she never forgot. Never. The room remained silent. No one spoke. No one breathed. Then Linda slithered closer, her voice low, steady, dangerous. "You thought you got away with it," she whispered. Richie did not answer. His head hung low. His hands trembled. Linda leaned in, her forked tongue flicking out. "You killed my sister." Richie let out a shaky breath. And for the first time in his life, he knew he was truly doomed. Mama, Richie gasped, stumbling back. "Richie, my son, you killed someone." His ex-wife put a hand over her mouth. "Oh, my God!" His friends took slow steps away from him. Richie looked at Linda. His voice was broken. "I didn't know she was your sister." Linda's eyes glowed. "But you knew she was someone's sister." Richie dropped to his knees. "Please forgive me." Linda tilted her head, watching him like a predator watching its prey. The crowd held their breath. They all knew this was not over. His ex-wife took a step back, her face twisted in disgust. His friends and neighbors whispered among themselves, their voices filled with shock and fear. He killed a girl. All these years, he was hiding this. So this is the source of his wealth. But Linda only smiled, a slow, knowing smile. She turned to the crowd, her yellow eyes gleaming. "You all think you know the full story," she said, "but you don't." Her voice was calm, but there was something chilling about it. She slithered closer to Richie, her tail dragging across the ground. "You thought Sonia was just an ordinary girl, didn't you?" she whispered. Richie lifted his head, his lips trembling. She was just a village girl." Linda laughed softly. It was not a laugh of amusement. It was a laugh filled with something dark. "No, Richie," she said. "Sonia was never just a girl." The crowd exchanged confused glances. Mama Richie frowned. "What do you mean?" Linda turned to face them, her golden eyes flashing. Sonia was not human. A sharp gasp spread through the crowd. Richie's mouth fell open. "What?" he whispered. Linda's smile deepened. She was a child of the river, a daughter of the forest. Mama Rich's hands covered her mouth. Jesus Christ. Rich's throat went dry. No, that's not possible. Linda's voice dropped lower. You see, Richie, you didn't just take an innocent life. You spilled the blood of a being who was never meant to die by human hands. She leaned in, her face inches from his. And do you know what happens when a creature like Sonia is killed unfairly? Richie's body trembled. Linda's lips curled. The spirits never forget. The wind picked up. The trees outside rustled violently. The air grew heavy, thick, suffocating. The crowd shivered as the atmosphere changed. Some took steps back, gripping their chests. Something is wrong, one man whispered. Linda straightened. Her voice was firm. From the moment you dumped her body like trash, the spirits of the river watched you. The gods of the forest saw you, and they decided. She turned to him, her eyes piercing. You will not die an easy death. Richie shook his head violently. No, no, it was a mistake. I didn't know. Linda hissed. But you did know, Richie. You knew she was helpless. You knew she had no one. You knew she couldn't fight back, and that is why you chose her. She leaned in close, just like you chose me. Tears spilled down Richie's face. He turned to his mother, to his ex-wife, to his friends. Help me, please. But no one moved. They only stared at him, their eyes filled with fear and disgust, because now they understood. Linda had not come to be his lover. She had not come to be his maid. She had come to finish what he started. And Richie's time was up. Linda's golden eyes burned with something dark, something final. She slithered closer, her fangs gleaming. Her voice was calm, steady. For that, she whispered, I will take your life tonight. Richie's breath caught in his throat. His whole body trembled. His hands pressed together, but no words of begging came out. He knew he deserved this. But then, his mother rushed forward, falling to her knees before Linda. Her wrapper was loose, her hair untied, her chest rising and falling with panic. Spare my son, she pleaded. Her voice cracked with desperation. Please, my daughter, don't do this. Linda's eyes flickered to her. Your son is a murderer, she said coldly. Mama Richie grabbed Linda's hands. I know, my child, but he is still my son. Her voice broke. Her tears fell freely. She turned to Richie, looking at him like a mother looking at a dying child. She wiped her face roughly and turned back to Linda. Take me instead, she said. Gasps echoed from the crowd. Richie's head snapped up. Mama, no. Mama Richie didn't look at him. She kept her eyes on Linda. Take my life, but leave him. Linda's expression didn't change, but something in her posture shifted. For the first time since she arrived, she hesitated. She studied the old woman carefully. You would die for this man. Mama Richie nodded without blinking. Yes, he is my only child left. I have lost 4 children. He is the last one I have. If he must die, then let me go instead. A deep silence followed. Even Linda seemed surprised. The wind stilled. The night air was thick. The crowd held their breath. Then, after a long moment, Linda spoke. No. The old woman blinked. What? Linda's voice was firm. I don't want your life. Mama Richie grabbed her hands tighter. Please, I beg you. Linda pulled away. No. She took a deep breath. Her golden eyes darkened now. But I will take something else. Richie looked up at her, his face covered in tears. What? What do you mean? Linda turned to him slowly, her lips curling. You will see. Linda stepped back, watching him with cold satisfaction. Now, she whispered, you can live like the monster you are, poor, forgotten, and alone. And with that, she turned away. She did not look back. She did not have to. The punishment was complete. And just a week later, Richie lost everything. His wealth gone, his power gone, his riches gone. The mansion shook. The golden chair vanished. The diamond tables cracked. The expensive paintings faded. The fine carpets disappeared. One by one, everything crumbled. He sat outside his ruined mansion, his head in his hands. He was no longer a chief, no longer a billionaire, no longer a man of power. His ex-wife stood in front of him, her arms crossed. "You drove me away for that thing," she spat. "Now look at you." Richie raised his head. "Please, Stella, don't leave me like this." She let out a dry laugh. "Leave you? You left me first." She turned away. "I have nothing to say to you." His friends stood nearby, shaking their heads. One of them sighed. "Richie, we can't even pity you. You brought this on yourself." One by one, they walked away, leaving him in the dust. Only his mother remained. Mama Richie, the woman who had carried him, raised him, loved him. She stood there, looking at her son. Tears filled her eyes. "I begged you, Richie. I warned you. But you didn't listen." He crawled to her feet. "Mama, don't leave me." She looked down at him, her lips trembling. "I raised a son, but today I don't know who you are." She turned, and she too walked away. Richie sat there, alone. No money, no power, no family, no friends. And worst of all, he would live every day knowing that his past had finally caught up with him. And this time, there was no escape.